I'm Randy, this is my daughter Kiva. We're in Pecos, New Mexico. And we want to welcome you to Pecos National Historical Park. We got 2.5 hours before they close. Let's go.
So originally, Pecos was preserved as a source of a lot of historical and archaeological material that helped outline the trade networks and the distribution of peoples across the desert Southwest, including the first chronology and real stratigraphy of pottery in the desert Southwest. Then it blew up from there because the people started realizing how much history was coming through this pass, including the Civil War battle, the Army of the West during the Mexican-American War. You also have an entire history of northern New Mexico ranching that's out here. You have the Fogelsons, you've got Tex Austin. There's a lot of cool stuff. Which then became the start of the mythology, you know, that is the what's called sometimes called fake lore, not folklore, fake lore of Pecos Bill.
In New Jersey, we got the, are you familiar who we have in New Jersey?
Not off the top of my head.
The Jersey Devil.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, the Jersey Devil. Yeah. So the thing is it's a part of fake lore where Pecos Bill was mainly a manufactured myth to be able to go and produce that and sell it to the public.
We are now in the underground Kiva. A lot of the Pueblos had these, used primarily for religious purposes. So then after the conquest, they rebuilt the third church, which is right here, that is still partially standing. Much smaller than the last church, and it serviced a smaller population as well. When I say still standing, it's only a tiny portion of it, because before the Park Service came in, much of this was vandalized. And the church that was built in the 1700s, much also has been destroyed from rain and wind. A lot of this is original over here. You open a doorway, you can see they're doing some renovations right now as we're here. But the Park Service is trying to restore a lot of this church and give you a pretty good feel of what it looked like. We were told earlier, I think it would probably be the second church. It was one of the tallest structures in the Southwest. So when the Spanish came here and built churches near these pueblos, they made them very noticeable. Here's a pretty good depiction from the brochure, just how massive this church was. So here's the structure we're looking at right now, and you can see the white outline, how big this thing was. I mean, right now it's about 3 stories tall, so we're probably up, I'm going to guess and say 5-6 stories high. This thing was massive. The section behind me is referred to as the South Pueblo. Much of this was used for storage. And again, you can see the church way off in the distance. So this area is really rich in history, and that's why this national park was established, to protect it and to interpret it. And this area all started out with the Native Americans. Then after that came the Spanish, and after the Spanish were the Indians from the plains that came down and pretty much wiped this place out. The Comanches, I believe they were called. Then after the Comanches, you had the white settlers that passed through this area. Then you had the U.S. government. Then you had the Civil War actually down here when the Confederacy tried to establish a beachhead over the states of the Southwest. And then you have Route 66. The lump of dirt right there is the trash mitten. And that, for the archaeologist, is a dream. Let me interpret that for you. That was the Pueblo's garbage heap. And you start sifting through that thing, you find all kind of history. And check that out. There's an actual photograph of them excavating the trash mound. So now we're coming up on the North Pueblo. This is amazing because right now it's about 4 feet above the ground. But when this thing was in its heyday, 4 to 5 stories, Kayla, tall.
Yeah.
With 600 rooms. As a matter of fact, they said this thing was so massive, they would never need to touch the ground. They would just walk along the roof and then drop into everybody's houses. So as you can see, not much of this remains. Now the Kiva, that's the third one we've seen. But this at one time was one massive Pueblo. So we're walking right now, here it is, along the perimeter of the North Pueblo. A little bit more of the rubble here, probably about 12 feet off the ground, but you can see just mounds and mounds of stone. And we've been seeing a lot of these Pueblos on this trip to New Mexico, and I am always amazed at the ingenuity, the intelligence, the foresight of the Native American people. We are talking thousands of years ago in many cases, and they knew what they were doing when it came to construction, building materials, and even a strategic location. For example, this right here is up on the high ground, which gave them a military advantage, of course. It was right by a lot of water sources, and it was also on a trade route as well, which helped their economy. Really neat. All right, Kayla, I turn around just for you. You've never had a blizzard.
No, I never did.
All right. We're talking Dairy Queen blizzard right there. Look at that. They'll order away. Let's go.
Can I have the chocolate brownie extreme blizzard?
There it is. Turn it upside down. How about that?
Alright, here we go. Making history.
I still can't believe this kid's never had a blizzard. I mean, what kind of lame, lousy parent am I? 20 years of your life, you've never had a Dairy Queen blizzard. Probably one of the greatest desserts ever invented by man. You've been missing out on a lot, haven't you? Probably almost want to go back and relive your life, don't you, after this? So from Pecos National Historical Site, we say goodbye. There's a lot more that you can do here. We at America's Parks sometimes just like to do a portion of each park, and that gives us some incentive to come back and visit again. But what you see in this video took us about 2 hours to accomplish. We did the main trail of the main Pueblos. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel, and remember, always room for you at our next national park adventure. Time to get some dinner. Have a nice evening.